For 40 years, we've been unique, helping create local jobs that last, empowering people, communities, businesses and charities to cooperate and collaborate. Developing a fairer and greener economy, advising social entrepreneurs, delivering digital skills to communities who've missed out, and supporting the building of affordable homes. This is how Cwmpas, the new name of the Wales Co-operative Centre, has and is working for positive change and meeting the modern-day challenges of climate change, rising energy prices, and the cost of living. Recent crises like the pandemic, as well as the closure of local community amenities and hubs, have made more and more people club together, work cooperatively to save something valued, create something new, or just improve services by having a stake and having a say.
We're certainly dealing with more groups that want to set up co-ops and social enterprises. So we've seen a demand for our services, particularly since the pandemic. Austerity meant services and things that communities wanted in their area were no longer there, could no longer be funded. So people got around the table and did it for themselves. I think also there's a sense that people need to and want to create a fairer society. We know the UK is one of the most unequal societies in the world, and people want to do something about that and make it a fairer place. And co-op, social enterprises, community businesses help to do that.
Be da ni'n neud mewn ffordd ydy cadw'r busnesau yna'n lleol, a chi'n gwybod, cadw'r swyddi yn lleol. Ac wedyn, unrhyw elw mae'r cwmni na'n neud yn y dyfodol, mae'n bosib i rannu fo rhwng y gweithwyr sydd yn byw yn lleol, a felly mae'r arian yna yn cael ei cylchredu o fewn y gymuned. Felly mae hwnna yn fodel pwysig iawn i economi Cymru.
Indeed for giving me the opportunity of placing my support and giving the reasons why I place my support behind a venture that I think is one of the most encouraging I've seen started in South Wales for a very long time.
It was in a different crisis of the early 1980s that Cwmpas was born as the Wales Co-operative Centre. The closure of the mining and steel industries left thousands unemployed. While one strategy was to attract large multinationals to Wales, another idea by the trade unions was to encourage the jobless to invest their redundancy money in local enterprises, with guidance from the new Wales Co-operative Centre.
Y cam pwysica yn ôl y TUC oedd sefydlu canolfan a lle roi cymorth i sefydlu mentre cydweithredol yng Nghymru. Gyda chymorth cyhoeddus sylweddol, y ganolfan honno a lansiwyd yn y gynhadledd ddiweddar yng Nghaerdydd.
To say what is the Wales TUC initiative? Well, it's to put in a focal point, somewhere where people can go, where they can receive all of the necessary services to make a small business in a cooperative form successful.
The unions asked the Thatcher government for support and expected to be rejected.
And instead of saying no, they said yes. And that rather surprised us. And then we went to Europe. Said, hey, the British government, believe it or not, is going to give us some money for a Wales Co-operative Centre to be set up. Do you think there's any chance of any European funding coming in? And he said, well, if you can get Welsh government money, so we'll match it from Europe. Because one of the things of the Wales Co-op Centre has always been that it touches something on all political wavelengths. It touches something in Labour, it touches something in the Tories with self-resilience and independence. It touches something with the liberal view of... And of course, it also chimed in with Plaid's view of doing something in Wales. And so, against all the odds, the Wales TUC managed to get this strange alliance. And that created a Wales Cooperative Centre, which was intended to try to address the problems of unemployment. Although I have to say that when we opened the doors in 1982, expecting a rush of people demanding our services, when we opened the doors, hardly anybody there.
Not all the unions and the redundant workers were convinced. Many saw the cooperative ideals as a rival to union solidarity, undermining wage levels, while individually few wanted to risk their redundancy packet on a risky self-employed venture.
I suppose we'd been overly optimistic of the willingness of people who just faced a catastrophe of being made redundant from what for many of them would have been a lifetime job in steel or coal. It was a big ask, that was, looking back on it. I mean, some people did it, but not many.
It wasn't until several years later, with the staff buyout of Tower Colliery guided by Cwmpas, that the miners accepted the cooperative model as a viable option. But by then, nearly all the pits were closed.
I'm sure that there were opportunities which were missed between 1982 and 1994, 95, for other towers to have emerged. It didn't happen. It took a long time for the miners to appreciate that this was a realistic option, a realistic option to create and to maintain work in the mining industry in Wales. And it did so successfully for a decade.
In the meantime, Cwmpas had grown beyond the traditional industrial heartlands and spread throughout Wales with a network of trained advisors working at small scale, with communities and entrepreneurs who were passionate about the cooperative ideals. It was supporting a wide variety of ventures, including childcare businesses, credit unions, farmer cooperatives, sport clubs and local shops. There was also a big demand from communities trying to save their local pub by everyone buying it through community shares.
A lot of the community share offers we work with are based in rural villages with a real lack of facilities and amenities, so having that community pub really is a massive difference for the community. The community pub is really more than a pub, so it's not only a pub, it's a community hub, it's a place where people meet, it's a coffee place, it's where groups can come together. In many parts of Wales, it's a place where people can speak the language, learn the language. It's a cultural hub. It's the difference with a successful community share offer is huge.
But over the years, it's not just been about saving local amenities, it's about creating new ones. In the late 90s, the people in Cwmgwrs in the Swansea Valley wanted to generate their own electricity through a wind turbine and formed a cooperative with the help of Cwmpas. They battled with planning for years, but eventually 2 were built. Since then, the co-op has branched out with one offshoot, Egni, becoming the UK's biggest rooftop solar power co-op, and is now creating a net zero community business centre from an old primary school in an area stricken by steel and mine closures.
Egni is a real role model for other share offers. They're now a real kind of go-to for other people wanting to do energy projects, which is brilliant for us because then they're sharing our knowledge, they're sharing our details, offering our support to other groups. They're also supporting other groups. It's like peer mentoring for us. They're a real kind of advocate for community shares and obviously at the same time promoting the work of Cwmpas.
Yeah, you see many cooperative social enterprises with a focus on climate change, on being green organisations. Social enterprises have a triple bottom line. So that's about economic impact, that's about social impact, and that's about environmental impact. So it's very much part of the DNA of those businesses. It can be easy to feel overwhelmed by the challenge of climate change, and often people can feel they can do something by working together, either as a business or a community group. So it can be a way that we can feel that we're doing something.
As well as community co-ops, Cwmpas has always been flexible and was keen to support new social entrepreneurs. After a successful career in football, Kelly Davis wanted to give back and saw an opportunity to help both struggling clubs and former footballers.
We started because I identified 2 problems. One was that there was a huge amount of young people that had fallen out of a career path in football, so they were put on the scrap heap. And then there was a real problem in that football clubs were not being run as sustainable businesses. And I thought, let's put the 2 together and let's make a training programme. The social enterprise viability benefited clubs, individuals, communities. For example, individuals, they benefited first and foremost from confidence. and self-worth. I really can't thank the centre enough, really, because they were there at every single point of the journey. I was entering unknown territory, really. I didn't know how to set up a social enterprise. I probably didn't know what a social enterprise truly was, and they taught me through the governance. They assigned me a mentor. We scaled to 16 European countries. We won UK Social Enterprise of the Year.
For Cwmpas, the reward is creating new jobs.
One of the big reasons I'm still here is I can't think of any other organisation, any other role that I could go that makes a difference, that your input can make a difference. And even now, you know, we used to joke about having a jobs bell when we were all in the office, and you'd ring a bell when you created a new job. Okay, we can't do that, but an email goes around whenever there's a new job that we can claim, and it's a big thing. You know, the business advisor has created an opportunity where somebody often used to be unemployed is now employed in and close to the community where they live.
With the digital revolution of the 21st century, Cwmpas was quick to adapt, helping marginalised people and communities get online access, learn new skills and enjoy the benefits.
It's not about tech, it is about people, and it's seeing people's lives being improved, because so much of society is now online, and it's just showing people like what the power of technology and being online can have for them, and ensuring that they can engage meaningfully in society.
There's various different issues or barriers. Having the lack of skills or the confidence in particular. It was about demonstrating on the actual devices, whether it was a laptop, a tablet, or even a phone. So that's a big part of upskilling communities by providing them, you know, direct demonstrations and guidance, and ultimately that can provide them the confidence to, you know, go on their own way and continue using these platforms. In this role, if someone gets online who wasn't online before, that's enough. That's enough. If they can benefit by going online to do various different tasks independently, that would be a job satisfaction.
Moving into the 2010s, and Cwmpas grasped the challenge to deliver cooperative or community-led homes. It set up a hub for cooperative and community-led housing to support groups in Wales to develop decent, affordable homes that people wanted and needed.
In the last decade, we've seen a much bigger problem around affordable housing. So we've supported community groups of people to come together and develop affordable housing schemes in a community-led way.
With the crisis in social care, it was natural for Cwmpas to help carers cooperate and collaborate in setting up enterprises that put people first, the cared for and the carers.
Being a cooperative in the care sector is amazing, because it just gives everyone a voice. We're supporting people how they want to be supported. Everyone's happy because they're doing what they want to do.
When we became a cooperative, we decided to not just be a cooperative provider of social care, but also to be a community builder. And this has led to the people we support and staff and a category of community supporters coming together, having brilliant ideas about how they could make their community better, sharing their talents and ideas, and then getting out there and doing things. But by becoming a cooperative, we are now absolutely accountable to the people who are working and living in the communities that we serve. So the chances of us up in sticks and saying goodbye to our members are zero. And that's an added value of being a cooperative.
Over its 40 years, Cwmpas has helped the social enterprise and cooperative sector grow to over 2,000 businesses, involving over 50,000 employees and generating nearly 4 billion in value. And today, Cwmpas is busier than ever.
Yn y blynyddoedd diwetha, mae Cwmpas wedi datblygu adran sydd yn ymgynghori busnesau yn y sector breifat, yn y sector cyhoeddus ac yn y drydydd sector hefyd. A felly ni wedi bod yn cefnogi busnesau yn ddiweddar gyda cynlluniau busnes, ond hefyd cefnogi nhw gyda eu gwerthoedd cymdeithasol. Ac hefyd ni wedi bod yn cefnogi nhw i edrych ar shwt fath o wahaniaeth mae gwaith busnes nhw yn wneud yn eu cymunedau lleol, a shwt fath o impact maen nhw'n gallu cael cael yn y cymuned ac hefyd ar gyfer y dyfodol. Felly mae'r gwaith yna yn tyfu i Cwmpas ac mae'n bleser i gallu gweithio gyda busnesau i wneud gwahaniaeth yn ble maen nhw yn gweithio. O beth sy'n gret i weld ar hyn o bryd yw bod y prosiectau mae Cwmpas yn gweithio arno ac yr adran ymgynghori hefyd bod y cyfan at ei gilydd yn ei gwahaniaeth i busnesau ar draws Cymru, ond hefyd mae'n ei gwahaniaeth i bobl a unigolion a cymdeithasau ar ledled Cymru, ble mae'r gwaith dyn ni'n neud yn neud gwahaniaeth i helpu i busnesau dyfu, i cymunedau dyfu, ac i hefyd i gryfhau ar gyfer y dyfodol, i wneud gwahaniaeth ar gyfer ein plant ni, a beth mae'r cymunedau Cymru yn edrych fel yn y dyfodol.
Employee ownership is one area where it works directly with the private sector, helping business owners transfer ownership of their companies to their employees.
The family that owns the iconic Welsh textile producer Melyn Trygwynt are to transfer the running of the business to their staff.
The couple will slowly hand over control of the mill to an employee's trust, and they'll still be paid for their shares in the company from the next few years' cash flow. There's no personal liability or cost involved for individual staff members, but they'll now have a greater say in how this place is run.
It keeps jobs in the local community. It's good for the business because you see great improvements in productivity as a result of employee ownership, and it's great for the community too. So there's lots of benefits of employee ownership.
Lunch will be shortly after 12. They'll notify us.
Events like the Start Something Good hackathon help people develop business and social enterprise ideas together, working not against each other, but working cooperatively for the good of the community.
It's been a great opportunity within Aberdare to run meet people's needs when they want to start a business. So whether that's help them to get online, to do digital marketing, help with business planning, getting money in the business to get going. So we've run workshops on sort of startup funding, grant writing, we've got funders. Really the key thing when we run them in an area is that we talk together with organisations who are embedded in those communities. And we work out together what's needed, we help promote it together, and I think gives the best opportunity because it's something for the community, by the community.
But can cooperatives and social enterprises help us take on the challenges ahead?
The needs always change and evolve, but interestingly, in terms of where we are now, it's almost going back full circle. So that the poverty and the things that you see now are very akin to what we were seeing in the 80s, with the decline of heavy industry. And it's almost, we as Cwmpas want social enterprise and co-ops to be the business model of choice. And so until we get there, we will see leakage of economic value and money leaving our local communities, leaving our regions, leaving Wales. And actually we can't afford that to happen. So we have to think differently about how we can always make that money stick closer to those communities.
The fact that Cwmpas and the Co-op Centre was established through the union movement means that it's got that very values-based approach, and it's particularly got that focus on fairer outcomes for people and communities. Keeping that link strong has meant that both organisations have retained those common values and that common vision for Wales's economy, underpinned by fairness and prosperity for all.
There's a huge challenge. I mean, cooperatives and social enterprise business models are just a small part of the economy at the moment, and we'd love them to be much bigger. But when you look at the challenges that we face as a society in terms of poverty and climate change and social injustice, we really need to take a radically different approach to how the economy and society is run. And if we were to see a much greater proportion of our economy that was made up of co-ops and social enterprises, the world would be a much better place. There's no doubt about that.
So there has never been a better time to work together with Cwmpas as a steady guiding hand, with 40 years of unique experience to build on.
Baby's grown up, is 40 years age, yeah. Done pretty well. Proud father.